Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you how I edit dusk portraits in Lightroom. So this is a photo that we're going to be editing today. It's a photo I took of my sister while we were at North Cascades National Park in Washington, which is seriously one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in real life. It's amazing. So this is the photo that we took. The first thing I want to do is to crop it. I really like to get my subjects into the center of the frame, so I'm just going to line it up just so she's right in the middle there. And I'm also going to lift the crop right just above her knee. And I also feel like it might be a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to align that a little bit more as well. I think that looks much better. So the first thing I want to do is to bump up our exposure as the photo is looking a little bit dark. And I'm also going to go down into lens correction and enable my profile corrections just to get rid of a little bit of that vignetting that was happening on the sides of the photos. I usually don't like it to be completely removed, so I do bring it down again just so we have a little bit of shadows in the corner. But yeah, I tend to do that quite a lot for my photos. The next thing I want to do is to bring down the highlights to save a bit of this detail in the sky, as it's looking really white and distracting at the moment. So I'm going to do that by bringing down our highlights. And I'm also going to use a graduated filter just to accentuate that sky a little bit more. Oh, by the way, these are the camera settings that I used for this photo. I shot this on the Canon 5D Mark III and the Canon 35mm 1.4 Mark I lens, actually. Okay, so with the graduated filter, I'm going to start by bringing the highlights down because I really want this brightest part of the sky to be a lot more prominent in our photo. And then I feel like we've deepened up the clouds quite a lot, so I'm also going to bring the shadows up and the blacks just to soften them up a little bit. I think that looks really nice. I usually like to look at this little thumbnail while I'm editing. I feel like it helps to see a big version of the photo and then a little version as well. And then I did notice that we've lost a lot of contrast here in the mountains, so I'm just going to grab our brush tool, click on erase, make sure it's at 100% flow, and make the brush a little bit softer. I'm using the shortcut Shift and square bracket to do that. And I'm just going to paint over that to bring back that nice dark mountain. I prefer it dark than light. And then the last thing I want to do is play around with the colors of the sky a little bit. So I'm going to go back to edit in our graduated filter, and I'm going to make the sky a little bit warmer and also add more pinks with the tint as well. And maybe we'll bump up the saturation too, because it is quite desaturated. Okay, so I'm happy with that. The next thing that I'm noticing in this image is that it's quite cool overall. Like, my sister's clothes are quite blue, the white balance is quite cool, so I really want to warm it up and make it look like it was a little bit more sunset than it actually was. So I'm going to bring the temperature right up to the 6000s, and I'm also going to bring the tint up as well, as now the image is looking quite green. Yeah, so I think that looks really nice. And then as you can see from our graduated filter in the sky, bringing up the white balance of the overall image really helped bring that out so much, and I really like how that all looks together. The next thing I want to do is, I still feel like this bottom half of the photo is looking really dark, but I don't want to lose any more highlights of the sky. So I'm going to apply another graduated filter, but this time over my sister and the landscape, and just bring up that exposure a little bit. So I think just there is good. I feel like it makes the image look so much more balanced. Now I want to get into using the tone curve. I love using the tone curve to add a bit of style to my photo, and I always feel like the curve really ties an image together. So for this one, I want to go quite stylistic and really matte the blacks quite a lot. So I'm going to pull the blacks up in the tone curve and then pull the shadows down to make them quite deep. And then to bring back some light back into the photo, I'm going to pull up on the midtones, and then I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit as well, just so we don't lose that sky again. And I might try bringing the whites down. No, I don't like how it makes the sky quite gray, so I'm going to leave the whites where they are. And I'll show you a before and after of the tone curve now. I really like how it just kind of matted the image and made it look a little bit softer overall. The last thing I want to do with this photo is play around with the hue in HSL. As you can see, looking here at the landscape in the back, we have quite a lot of colors going on, which do look really nice, but I want to see if we can get them to tie in just a little bit more, because we do have these kind of browns and then some bright greens and some yellows and this dirt over here. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to start with the yellow hue slider, and I think I want to make the grass a little bit more brown rather than so vibrantly green. So by pulling the yellow slider to the right, we've made the yellows look a little bit more orange. And then again with the greens, which will probably affect this area, I'm going to pull it to the right to add more yellows. And this will make it look more like a dried out field, which I really like. So I think just about there is good. And here's a before and after of our hue sliders. I feel like it brought the background together a little bit more, as it was looking a little bit patchy in my opinion, so I'm happy with what that looks like. And the last thing I wanted to try and do was see if I could make any of these flowers a little bit less saturated in this photo, but I have a feeling it might affect the sky if we do that. Actually, no, it doesn't. Okay, so with the red saturation slider, we can bring that down and just tone down the brightness of the flowers on my sister's dress just a little bit, as I feel like they were a little bit distracting. So again, here's another before and after of HSL. And I'm super happy with how that photo looks. It looks like almost like a movie still. It's like quite soft overall, and it's an in the moment kind of portrait. Here is a final before and after. This is the before and this is the after. Please let me know what you guys think of this edit down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And also, do you like taking dusk portraits? I feel like I like taking photos at dusk the most when I'm traveling. It just creates such a surreal and dreamy kind of memory to the photos that you take. So I always love going out during sunset and staying around until after sunset to make sure I can get some pretty photos. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys learned something from today's Lightroom tutorial. I make new videos every single Wednesday, so I will see you guys all next time. Bye!